Hello, BookTube. My original plan for this Monday was to film an original tag video. I've been promising to create an original tag for quite some time now, and I just haven't really done it. So I have two tags that I've been thinking about doing, or that I have largely set up or written out. And I'm not entirely happy with either one of them. So the first one, the one that I was going to do today, was one in which I gave a series of literary genres. And basically the question was, what are your favorites, or what your taste is in those genres, or what your thoughts are about those genres. So this tag was originally inspired by, in part, a recommendation tag video that I saw on Steve Donahue's. It came out 4 years ago, but I was going to do some tag necromancy with it. But Steve made the point in that video that recommendations are, you need to be cautious, because while you're recommending your favorites, more likely than not, but those recommendations may not necessarily, or those favorites may not necessarily be really good for recommendations, particularly for people who are new to the genre. And he brought up, say, Lord of the Rings for fantasy, which, the Lord of the Rings is probably not the best way to start getting into fantasy. So that got me thinking about just listing genres and asking the booktuber doing the tag to comment about the genre, comment about list your favorites, or talk about your favorites, or what your tastes are in that genre. And I've been wanting to make a tag centered around tastes, like literary tastes, but it never quite worked out. So I thought this might be a really good way to go. But the more I think about it, the more this tag's, it's a common tag. Tags in which our favorites are asked for. So I'm not entirely too happy with it. The other tag I've been working on is one centered around one's home library. I am rather obsessed with the libraries of booktubers. Usually if there's a Q&A that I remember to ask a question on, I will usually ask something, at least for the first time I ask a question in an individual booktuber's Q&A, about their library. But I also noticed that about a year ago there was another library tag, so that kind of put me off of this one. Although maybe I could kind of do some expansions, do some follow-up. I don't know. I need to do a bit more work on it. But then I was thinking about one of the tags that I had created, although never filmed a video for, a few months ago when I did my random Q&A tag. And it just, as much fun as I think that tag would be, there were a few problems with it. Namely, it really would only, I think, apply to science fiction fans or fantasy fans. And I had thought maybe I could do similar tags for other genres, but I'm not entirely sure how to do that. So the original tag, that first tag, was, so the conceit was that basically the booktuber doing the tag has been sent to a mashup fantasy world populated by basically all of literature, although mostly fantasy. But and the questions, for the most part, referenced various characters from various works of fantasy or fantasy adjacent literature. And I think the tag would be fun, but I don't know. So today I was thinking, or I had the idea of some ideas for how to do a literary fiction version of it, but I don't know. Because the more I think about it, the more I like that idea, but I do want to maybe retool some of, particularly for the fantasy one, what I have. But I don't know. Because, I mean, for one thing, what genres would I choose? I mean, of course, there would be literary fiction, romance, mystery, science fiction, and fantasy. Although, should I do that as one tag video or do them as two separate ones, which would give me 5? Are there other genres I should add? What should I do? I mean, like, yeah, so I need to kind of think about that. But I am kind of excited about it. So hopefully this video is making any sense. So I think what I'm kind of wondering is how interested you would be in like doing perhaps a silly tag centered around various literary genres. And so I know for sure literary fiction, romance, mystery will be sort of, I know they'll be there. I don't know, I'm thinking about splitting up science fiction and fantasy, but I'm not entirely sure. And I don't know about horror or what other genres I should add. And in some ways, what questions I should ask, because while I can do science fiction and fantasy because they're my favorite genres, I'm not entirely sure about the others because I'm not as into them. I mean, particularly like, say, romance. I have practically no interest. It's like, so I'm not entirely sure how to make that work. So, any advice, any sort of comments, please let me know in the comments down below. And hopefully, I will be back tomorrow with an original tag video, not one of these genre-oriented tags. It'll probably be the library one, I think, once I kind of retool it over the next few hours. And then if I do the genre oriented ones, they'll be sort of in the coming weeks once I sort of think more about them and do up some questions. But I think the questions will be between 10 to 15 questions or prompts. So anyway, BookTube, that's all I got for today. So thank you. Have a great afternoon and stay safe.